Super early this morning, Sledgehammer released the first ever patch for Call of Duty World War II, and the first patch after release is always a pretty significant one. So I wanted to make a video, talk about what they changed with you guys. It's actually a pretty big patch. We've got a lot of stuff in the back end as well as stuff in terms of like weapon balancing and actually a basic training balancing and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. I wanted to talk about it and see what you guys thought. Now, starting off with the back end stuff, there were a whole host of things that they changed for optimizing the, connections and UI and loading and all kinds of stuff like that. Some of the main things that they did, some of the highlights that I think were a really big problem for the community is there was a deranking glitch where when you would play in private matches, sometimes that would actually derank you. So that is now fixed. They also fixed the infinite loading screen glitch. So if you played one of the first like 2 or 3 days when the game came out, you would get stuck on that Sledgehammer screen where it just showed the Sledgehammer logo forever. So that is now fixed. I've not run into that today, which is really, really nice. And then also they just said that they had general connectivity improvements. And I do think that they did. I think there are some things that are better, but there are some things that have actually gotten worse. So you're definitely getting games way quicker now. I don't have any issues with that. I saw a couple of people on Twitter talking about how they had trouble getting into games. I haven't had that issue yet. I still get the issue of getting kicked from a game right after it ends. So it's like, it's the final score. It's like over. It's showing the final kill cam and everything. And then it kicks everybody out, so nobody gets a win for it. So, that doesn't help with trying to complete your challenges and stuff like that. So that's still an issue. And then even worse, the connection inside games has actually become a little bit tarnished. I don't know, it's weird. It doesn't happen in every game, and it doesn't happen the entire time in every game. It's like little pockets of it, but occasionally it just gets really laggy and choppy. And it's pretty consistent. Like it's not like laggy and choppy all the time, but you'll play fine for 10 seconds, and then you'll have like 3 or 4 seconds of lagginess and choppiness. Like for example, this clip right here, it gets all laggy and choppy, and your bullets don't actually hit people, and dude, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to be patient. I'm trying to be understanding. I realize there are tons and tons of people trying to play this game. It's the best Call of Duty game we've had in terms of the actual gameplay in quite a long time, and everybody's excited about it. So I'm trying to understand that there's a lot of stress on these servers and stuff, but it's just starting to get a little bit old. I don't know, man. I love this Call of Duty, and I don't want to see it tarnished and plagued by these bad servers. And I have no clue what's going on. I don't know why this wasn't seen in the beta. Obviously, nobody knows the full story here. I don't think it's on Sledgehammer. I don't think Sledgehammer has anything to do with the servers. I think it's on Activision's end, so I wouldn't point the finger at Sledgehammer. I don't think it's their fault, but like, I mean, come on. We've been playing Call of Duty for 10 years now in like the modern era of multiplayer. What in the world is going on at this point? Like, if it was a couple of days at launch, I understand, but we're now a week past launch, and we're still having major issues. I don't know what to say, man. Like, I don't want to sit here and complain because everybody who's sitting there complaining isn't helping at all, obviously. I mean, Sledgehammer knows it, Activision knows it, they're working on it, they're working to fix it. I don't see why it had to happen in the first place. It's very unfortunate. Obviously, it wasn't intentional by them, but I don't want to see such a good Call of Duty have such a bad tarnish on its reputation from this. So hopefully they can get that ironed out soon, and then we're definitely going to be looking at one of the better Call of Duties of all time. So anyway, moving on from the back-end issues, we've also got some new updates to balancing, both for weapons as well for basic training. So let's start off with the basic training. Most people are going to know what we're talking about here. Good old espionage. So I was going to make a video about espionage a couple of days ago, and then some other YouTubers beat me to it, and then I also partially didn't want to make it because I didn't want to have people spamming espionage all over the place, because it seriously is one of the most broken, stupid perks we've ever seen in Call of Duty. So espionage is the basic training, like the default one that you have unlocked. And what it does is that when you shoot somebody and your bullet hits them, or your grenade hits them, or your tactical hits them, or something like that, it highlights them on your minimap and your entire team's minimap for 10 seconds. As in, it's like a black bird. Like, it highlights them in real time. You can see their red dot moving around in real time. I'm sure you guys have seen that a lot on your minimaps, enemies showing up in real time. That is the most broken thing I've ever seen, and it should not be in the game. Let's think about this from a gameplay scenario. So I'm pushing around a corner, I run into an enemy, and we get in a gunfight. I outgun him. I win that gunfight, but he gets a shot or two on me, and he had espionage. Now for the next 10 seconds, his entire team knows exactly where I am. So I keep pushing. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling good. I'm going to push around this next corner, try to get another gunfight. I come around that corner, and I've got 2 to 3 guys behind cover just waiting for me to be coming there because they know exactly where I'm at in real time. How many times has that happened to you guys in this game where you come around a corner and somebody's already pre-aiming you? It's not that they have, like, sometimes it's just good game sense and they just know you're going to be coming. But in this case, it feels like it's way more popular in this game because of this stupid basic training, dude. I'm pretty passionate about how dumb this basic training is. It's really, really frustrating. And the fact that it's the default one that everybody has, and a lot of people just don't even change it sometimes, it's just, dude, it's so frustrating. Like, think about if an entire team was running this, that means every single person they ever got any sort of damage on would be highlighted for 10 seconds like a Blackbird. It'd be essentially having an unlimited advanced UAV or unlimited Blackbird the entire game. It's just, it's dumb. It doesn't make any sense to me. So what they did is they nerfed this, but just a little bit. They made it so that only bullet damage makes this happen. It doesn't count if you hit them with any sort of a lethal or a tactical or anything like that. And then they also took it from 10 seconds down to 6 seconds. Now, I'm happy that they realized that people were upset about this and they realized that it was a little bit overpowered. I still think 6 seconds is way too long. I still think it's way too powerful. In my opinion, the right thing to do here would be to make it so that you only show up on the guy that shot you's mini-map. So let's say I have espionage. I shoot an enemy and he runs behind cover, but it's like think like the flat gun on Gibraltar where you can go left or right. I shot him, he's behind cover, but now for the next 6 seconds, I can see whether he's gonna go left or right to come back out and try to get me. That way, it's still a pretty good basic training. Like, if you know exactly where these people are going that you didn't finish that kill, you're probably gonna be able to finish that kill. But then it's not completely blood-curdlingly frustrating because, I mean, if it shows up for the entire enemy team, that's just a death sentence, dude. It doesn't make any sense to me. It completely removes the idea of like flanking and tactically moving around the map and moving from gunfight to gunfight. It doesn't make any sense. So I think that's the change they need to make, or just completely take the thing out of the game. I don't see where it really has a place in Call of Duty. We have seen it before in previous games. I think there were certain variants in Infinite Warfare that had it, and then also in Modern Warfare 3, I believe this is the same side effect that Recon Pro had. But if you think about it, you had to grind for the Pro perk, and nobody was going to be using Recon Pro in Modern Warfare 3. It was a first perk slot. You were going to be using like Sleight of Hand or Scavenger or something, not Recon Pro. So we have had this before. It's just never been this rampant and this much of a problem with this many people using it. I think something has to be done. That's just my personal opinion. Finally, last but not least, we do have some weapon balancing going on, and I think they did a good job here. I think a lot of this was needed. So starting off with the buffs, we've got the toggle action shotgun. Damage increased at extremely close range. I don't really mess around with the shotguns too much in this game, but I do know that they're kind of weak, particularly. I don't like the sawed-off shotgun, and I don't like the toggle action that much either. And it got a buff at extremely close range. Shotguns should be good at extremely close range, so that makes sense to me. The Bren LMG, haven't really messed around with the Bren too much. Increased damage per shot. I don't know if you guys like LMGs, let me know what you guys think about that. And then finally, the LMG bipod sped up ADS time when in bipod stance. I do agree with that. If you're gonna be running around and taking the time to set up a bipod and kind of hold down an area, you should be able to move around in ADS really, really quickly. By the way, the bipods are actually pretty solid. If you guys haven't tried out the bipods yet, I realize it's kind of a weird thing. They're actually pretty good. It really reduces the recoil. Try it out. Anyway, moving on to the nerfs here. A lot of these were needed. So first and foremost, of course, the bar. It's been nerfed. Decreased fire rate and widened hip fire spread. This thing was a laser with the hip fire, so I'm glad they made that bigger. Now, in terms of the decreased fire rate, Drifter actually tweeted that it wasn't that big of a difference. With frame rounding, it was like by 7.5% or something like that. You're barely gonna notice that, but maybe it'll lead to a few fairer gunfights. I don't know. The bar may need more of a nerf. We'll have to wait and see how it all turns out, but it did get a little nerf here in this update. Next up, the STG widened the hip fire spread. I'm fine with that. STG is personally one of my favorites, so I don't really hip fire too much with it. I like to ADS. I'm glad they didn't touch that thing. The FG42 has increased recoil and a widened hip fire spread, so I can kind of understand this. I feel like the bar and the FG were kind of in a head-to-head to see who was the better rifle. FG has kind of a slower fire rate, so the increased recoil makes it a little bit tougher to control. I don't know. I feel like the slow fire rate means you should have less recoil, but we'll have to wait and see. I haven't really used that one too much, so hopefully it's a good thing. Next up, they did nerf the machine pistol a little bit. I feel like it was kind of necessary. That thing was a little pocket SMG. It's still solid, but the ranges and the damage over ranges is just a little bit less, so it's going to take a little bit longer to kill people, which isn't too big of a deal. And then finally, last but not least, all the sniper rifles, they fixed a bug where when you ADS'd, it'd be in the exact center of the screen, so now it's got a little bit more of the sway in there. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. If you're a quick scoper, I think you're going to be fine. But yeah, there we have it. So honestly, I feel like a lot of that was necessary. Basically, you know, assault rifles aren't going to be as good as hip firing. They nerfed some of those. And really the only thing that I think is really, really necessary that they didn't touch on is a buff of the SMGs. I feel like the SMGs are outclassed a little bit in this game. And it's a tough balance because a lot of Call of Duties, the SMGs become king, and that's the best thing to use. So you don't want them to become king where nothing else touches them, but you also want them to be a little bit more effective. I feel like if I'm not using the PPSH or the MP40, I'm kind of screwed. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. But there you guys have it. That's the first update for World War II. Overall, I think it was a fantastic update. If we can fix those stupid freaking servers, we're going to be okay.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these motherfucking
servers
on this motherfucking
game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace out.